it is only round 3, so there's still a lot of racing to be had in these earlier stages. My name is Corey Brooks, one of your 2 commentators for this evening. Join with me in the comms booth, it's Cockcass. How are we doing, my friend? Are you excited to be a Tier 2 for the first time? Here to show you the spicy action, and we're going over to Vegas. How are you feeling for this one, buddy?
I'm very excited. We've started off on a good note because you pronounced my name right. So we're there, aren't we? So yeah, Tier 2 is going to be extremely exciting today because, as you said, it's only round 3. We're not even a third of the way through this season 19. So a hell of a lot of action still to be had. All the drivers are still in contention for something, so it should be something exciting.
Absolutely, and like I say, we're heading ourselves over to the mighty Las Vegas in the USA, a fairly new addition to the calendar in the Formula One world with its 6.120 kilometre long track, 17 turns and 2 DRS zones with 2 detection points. That back straight though, as you come down the Las Vegas straight, get you to top speed in seconds, could open the door for some mighty fine overtaking opportunities down into 14, 15 and even 16. But if you get the rundown out of turn 16, you can certainly power on all the way down to the line and potentially jump one up on your rival ahead. So this probably one of the fastest tracks in terms of top speed that you're going to reach coming down that final Las Vegas straight. You know, you're going to be maxing out your car, red lining, it's going to be screaming at the top of its lungs, the DRS with the ERS to your disposal. So what do you think about that, Cockcass? Any spicy overtakes you see coming down the line?
It should be, because you think about it, the longest DRS straight that we have is that back straight down the Las Vegas Strip. And at the end of that, you've got turns 14, 15 and 16, which are notoriously difficult corners to go through, especially if you're side by side, because they're just so incredibly tight. It's such a tight chicane. There's walls either side. And so it's going to be incredible risk. But these drivers, they'll trust their own abilities. They'll reckon they can get those moves done. So we should be seeing some absolutely insane moves this evening.
Absolutely. I just got informed that my mic was rather quiet, so I do apologise for that one. But hopefully now that is dramatically better and you can hear me nice and loud and clear. But yeah, I'm ready for this one. Like you say, Cutcast, it's Las Vegas. We've only seen it a few times. We're around here, season 19. We get it in round 3, so very early on, and could certainly introduce a high level of racing to go forward. Now, the standings, not so much to talk about as of yet. They're still jumping up and down, up in the order. Things are certainly starting to shake up among some drivers. You know, Danny Van Rooten winning last time out. Could potentially go on for 2 in a row, or can Jean Halliday do anything to stop him? But don't let us keep you waiting any longer, because qualifying is about to begin, and we shall go trackside. So you are now joining us trackside.
We are trackside for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and it should be, as we mentioned, an exciting one. We should see times absolutely tumble here because track degradation is probably at its peak around a circuit like this, where, you know, the first sector especially, we could see some of these drivers take off maybe even 4/10 from their first push laps. That's how significant the change is, and well, 4/10 in a tier like this is absolutely huge with everybody being so tight together. So mistakes need to be minimized, and well, we should see a tight battle for pole position, a number of incredibly quick drivers, a number of drivers as well who are looking to prove themselves in this season. So yeah, a lot of action to come.
Yes, absolutely. We're currently on board with Ryan Grob driving his Haas colours, currently leading this huge wave of cars. You can see on the map there on your screen the huge train going all the way down the Las Vegas Straight. Just everybody getting themselves ready to get these first laps out. You know, I'm not too sure how the drivers feel on a track like Las Vegas. I know I've heard people complain about it, not too happy with it. The traction can be low, but again, that back straight apparently is just awful to drive down with the sound of the car screaming at you. I've heard mixed feelings left, right and centre, but it's Ryan Grob who's going to start us off with our first timed lap as he gets himself down flat on the floor, slamming on the brakes and trying to get the rotation round. The double left-hander turns 1 and 2. Round we go. This is very easy to light up the rear tyres as you come around turn 3. You need to be very gentle on your steering while also flat to the floor before you're aided with the DRS on the exit. And now down towards turn number 5, where he will finish first sector, and it will be the first sector time to beat as you dispatch of that first aided DRS zone now here in sector 2. Coming up towards 7, 8 and 9. This is where things can get a little bit spicy and treacherous. You've got that high raising curb there on your right hand side, but if you hit it wrong, can kick out the rear tyres and put you in an uncomfortable situation. But around 9 he goes and looks to be very confident and comfortable here on his first time lap.
He certainly does. I mean, it's something that the drivers will have practiced. They know what they've got ahead of time, and so they will have been banging out time trial laps as Ryan Grubb just running over that curb, knowing exactly the spot to hit where he doesn't lose any sort of rear traction. He doesn't over rev the car at any point. And now that exit is absolutely crucial because it will take you on to the Las Vegas Boulevard. Probably some of the quickest speeds that we will ever see a Formula One car go. And Ryan Grubb coming to the end of it. Huge braking zone into that chicane. And yeah, coming out of it, just brushing the walls as closely as you can. It's a high-risk, high-reward approach. And Ryan Grubb absolutely destroying that ERS tank as he comes up to the line. 129.765 is going to be the lap to beat for the drivers so far. Simon Lukomski, though, going up 0.3 quicker already with a 129.396. Andre Molnar and Luca Rapassa. And now Jan Halliday splitting the first runner and the current poleman. But yeah, all the times coming in seem to be around 129.6 to 129.9 as Larry Tulke's just gone in. So yeah, decent times to start off with, but there's a lot of room to improve with Simon Lemonski, with currently the only driver in the 29.3s.
I'm quite surprised to see the 29s come early as such like this. You know, it's a very fast circuit to be hard, and in qualifying they're already breaking down towards what could be world record timing. So 29, low 29s already for Lukomski. It's a beautiful lap to get going here, but of course there's not a lot of corners to make mistakes on. You've got a lot of fast flat zones, so absolutely foot to the floor. You know, where do you save the battery around here? Where is the best place to deploy that on your right lap as Kai Pearson comes across the line for P10 there? Closely followed by Richard Sprogis. Where Richard going to go? He was invalid, but it was a 30.052. So, again, very close to breaking in that 29s. He's got that time that he knows. He's got his margin in. He still set the lap, but there's still quite some work to do to get close to that top spot. Lukomski, though, is a tenth clear, a tenth and a half clear of Andre Molnar. So, easy to find the time for Lukomski, but is there anybody else who can challenge that?
Yeah, and I mean, the banker laps have been put in at the moment, and we've got a few drivers coming round for their first banker laps. Richard Sprogis, the only one invalidating on his first push lap. So, yeah, 29.3 is an incredible lap to set at this early point in time. And everybody they'll be looking at that time just as you did just a moment ago, Corey. And they're just going to go, how on earth did he do that? They're going to be chatting with the engineers, trying to find an onboard of Lukomski just to try and see how he was able to do that, because yeah, pushing the car is it's what you have to do around this circuit, and they will have felt that early on that's what they did, because they're throwing in the 29s already. But Simon Lukomski, I mean, he's thrown it 10 times harder.
Yeah, certainly has, and managed to gain that time on that banker lap, and beautifully done for a very talented driver. In Tier 2, we've seen him in the fight quite a few times, even from Season 18. Now in 19, he was getting himself into the scraps. Last time able pushes on for what could be the pole position here in Vegas, or is anybody else able to challenge that? We are now on board with Keaton Lutt, who's yet to get a time on the board, but now comes around to start a second run of the evening. Still under 12 minutes to go, just under 11 and a half minutes to go qualifying. Still a lot of time for drivers to get out there, so those early invalidations have not been much to worry about just yet. But Keaton Lutt now, he's flat to the floor, pushing it as hard as he can down the first DRS straight, and to finish off Sector 1. Where will this put that Sector 1 time? It's 25.7. It's looking like it's a personal best so far. Well, of course it will be. But is that a full purple? We shall see as he gets going into Sector 2. The slower speed corners of Las Vegas. You need to manage your way around a tight, twisty chicane section. And then you're back flat to the floor, coming around the final parts of Sector 2. Round turn 11 we go. Now you need to be harsh on the brakes for turn 12, but also do not pick up that curb too much. You don't want to always jump in it. He's really trying to cut it, but if you hit it in the wrong angle, it can push you out, understeer, slide you right into that outside wall, and that could be you done and dusted for qualifying. Keaton Lutz still on the push. No invalidations as of yet, but will it pick up out of Sector 3? You know, turn 14, 15, and even 16. You've got to run them very close to the walls. You know, the tyres basically brushing against that concrete, but he's still flat to the floor. You can see him cutting the corner, running, brushing against those walls, trying to maximise the speed possible, keep the car going in as straight line as possible to not pick up too much drag and set yourself up for that final run all the way down to the line. It's good enough for P8. It's a 29.7, so get his first time lap out there, and it is a 29. Good to get up on the board in the top 10.
Yeah, and we haven't actually had any drivers so far into the 130s. Enzo Sum almost heading up there, almost proving me wrong pretty much straight away. But yeah, top 10 it's a decent start for Keaton Lutt. It's a decent start for the Haas team, 8th and 12th, but they'll be wanting to improve on that. Of course they will. Justin Ertz across the line, and he displaces Keaton Lutt in that 9th place. There's actually just over a 10th between 8th and 10th, demonstrating how incredibly close especially the mid-pack is at the moment. But we've got drivers coming around for their second runs now. And yeah, we should be seeing times come down. I mentioned the track evolution earlier. This is going to be the track evolution demonstration with 9 minutes left on the clock. We should get 2 more timed laps for most of the drivers, if not all. That's if they don't invalidate. And we should be seeing some, well, we should be seeing some times tumble as Simon Lukomski goes for a big slide in in the first sector.
Ooh,
and then he hits the wall on the exit. I think he's backed out of that lap in the end. And I think quite a few of these drivers, they're not pushing to the fullest extent. They're just preparing, going for a double run where that first lap, it's not necessarily going to be a push lap, even if the game says it is. And then from this point onwards, this will be where they really focus. They're warming their tyres for a couple of laps. They're wearing that fuel down, and they're going to go for one. They're going to go for one run that they're going to hope is going to define their session, so they don't have the pressure on the final one.
Just trying to figure out who will be the one to take us down towards the checkered flag. It shall not be Ryan Grob. I don't think it will be Joe Marquardt either. Neither will it be the Kickstarter. Is that the Ferrari? It's Luca Rapace into the pits. Gabriel Quintino's on a lap though. Coming down towards the line. He's not, he's into the pits. Everybody's diving into the pits. Have we missed a lot of runs? Have we missed times flood the board? I don't see anybody jumping the order. I think a couple of drivers have been testing the waters. Apart from Larry Tulke there, jumping up into P5, I think. It was indeed. It's an improvement needed.
It does look like everybody is coming into the pits.
Tudor settled that. My apologies. Go on. Sorry, I was trying to figure out who's improved on the times. So Larry Tulke and Tudor have both improved on the lap times so far. Everybody else is outraising Tiaz, who's going to bring us for a lap. He's not. He's into the pits as well. Kai Pearson to start a lap, maybe.
Richards is on one, I think. He's almost crossed the Sector 2 split time. And I think he's the lead car on track at the moment as he comes across it with a 54.7. I think he's the first one on his push lap. This is also his first push lap. And as he invalidated his first one, he's going to be looking to at least set a 129. We expressed surprise earlier at those 129s, but it appears to be the norm now as the drivers, they've had the opportunity to practice. They've had a lot of opportunity to practice.
Oh, it's invalid.
It's invalidate into turn number 15. And I said they were going to have to really push the limits of the track and the car. And Richard Sprogis, well, he's demonstrated why that's a risk.
Absolutely. You know, going out for these I wouldn't say imperfect laps, but these slight little subtle mistakes as this clock ticks down. Any time on the board now is what it's going to be for Richard. Anything that he can set in the final closing minutes, that's 2 chances where he's not got a time on the board, ultimately invalidating them both. So it seems to be turn 15. Turn 15 is catching out some drivers, trying to cut over that apex as much as they can to keep the car as straight as possible. It's just not falling in their favour.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, turn 15 is the one where you're going to invalidate, because turn 16, there's less runoff for you to invalidate. Turn number 14, you're just trying to get the car turned in the first place and just making sure that you don't lock up. And once you've avoided that risk, you could get a little bit excited on the throttle, and then that will cost you, as it's cost Richard Sprogis on that lap. And all the pressure now is on that final run for him. JST, in the meantime, the second driver who hadn't set a lap, he has now set a lap. He's 15th, but had he improved by just one more tenth, he could be challenging in P7. So the mid-pack especially is incredibly tight. Joel Marquardt, in the meantime, he has improved on his first sector, and a tiny improvement could see him fighting for maybe even the top couple of positions. He improved by 300ths in that first sector, and we'll see how pin perfect the Red Bull can keep it as he heads through sector number 2. Sector number 1, the technical one, and sector number 2 and 3. You've just got to keep it in a straight line out of the wall, as Joel Marquardt just gives it a little love tap on the exit, and he's not improving anymore. He's lost an entire tenth in that second sector. DRS will be open very, very soon, and this is where we see the straight line speed of the drivers. The preparation would have been based around this straight, and then 14, 15, 16, and then the straight after that. Those are where the moves are going to be made. Those are where the time is going to be made up, and Joel Marquardt really taking a lot of curb there. Just a little wobble of the car, and I think he may be coming into the pits. Indeed, he is. And that lap that promised in Sector 1, he's got a little bit more work to do in Sectors 2 and 3 on that final run, with 4 minutes left on the clock, and we've got a lot more times to set.
It wouldn't surprise me to see everybody come diving into the box now, slap on some fresh boots, and they most certainly have the time, as Lukomski sets a new fastest time, improves by just over half a tenth, so setting a statement here to say that this pole position is mine. If there's any time to find, I will be the man to do so. As he now keeps on going around the track to get himself back to the pits. Although, I don't know, could he? Oh, he's dethroned! Gabriel Quintino jumps ahead by just under half a tenth. It's a 29.291. He's your new pole position. Gabriel Quintino's looking super racy out here today. Lukomski looking strong, staying there on the top spot for the first 10 minutes of qualifying, has been absolutely jumped.
And Quintino, that is going to be the lap that will define this session, I believe, because, I mean, no one else is finding that 3/10 like Quintino has just been able to, just like that. And so, I mean, that could be pole position. Lukomski could have more time. We will have to wait and see, as all the drivers, they're waiting in the pits now. We've just had Laurie Tulki come out. Keanu van Leotard isn't pushing. And obviously Lukomski and Quintino aren't either after those runs. But Lukomski, he would have felt so comfortable. He might even have been on the verge of retiring from the session to save a set of soft compound tyres. He's going to have to completely rethink his strategy now.
Absolutely. This is where he needs to try and fly around the track, get back to the pits, but I don't think he's got the time. He needs to navigate the pit lane, get in there, swap the tyres, get back out, and do an outlap. This could be it for Lukomski. Lukomski's not going to improve on this one, I don't think. But as for Quintino, does he have the fuel to go one more time? That is the question. We're currently on board with Keanu van Leotard. Keanu Leotard. That's interesting. Keanu van Leotard, it's a new one for me. As Keanu fires down towards the finish line, it's not, he goes into the pit, so I think that's it for Keanu as well. Jan Halliday, your current driver standing leader, sat there in P5. He's had 2 very good opening rounds here in season 19. Could he make it 3? And can he potentially take a pole position and set up for what could be 2 race victories this season? Or will it be 3 podiums in a row?
It's looking like it's going to have to be, well, it's looking like if he gets a good start, that he's in the potential for that, because he's currently just 6, almost 7 tenths off Andre Molnar in that 3rd place. But a higher grid position will obviously help with that sort of thing. And he's got 1 more lap to do that. Laurie Tulki, though, will get us away for the final runs in this session. We've seen 3 of the top 4 retire from the session. Quintino, Lukomski, and Van Leotard will not participate any further. All the drivers will be coming across as we've just ticked to under a minute on the clock. I think everybody's going to be safe and able to set a lap. The only one that could be under a little bit of pressure is Luca Rapassa, who hasn't quite gone through turn 14 yet. But watching on board with Lari Tilke as he heads through the second sector now. He's barely used any of the ERS. That will be absolutely destroyed down the back straight, because that is where the time will be found. But the first couple of sectors, they're sort of markers to see how a lap is going to go. Lari Tilke almost able to come across the second sector split time. He's not improving. He needs to find something here, something special on this lap, just to really find that edge, to climb those positions. He's got just under a 10th to go into those current podium positions. He's not there at the moment, and I'm not feeling positive about this lap from the Kick Sauber in terms of improving up the field. A 129.610 is still a strong lap, though, and as he taps the wall on the entry and the exit of turn number 16, that is going to be Lari Tilke's push lap over. His teammate Justin Ertz, though, is coming through the final sector, riding the curb of turn number 15 and coming out of it. He's currently in P10, just 200ths behind Joel Marquardt, and just over a 10th behind Tudor Pressacan in 7th place. Make that 3rd place for Justin Ertz as he goes up 129.526, just ahead of Andre Molnar, who's coming through the second sector. He's improving by an unbelievable amount. A 10th and almost, well, it's almost a 10th and a half. It's 0.13 seconds, and Andre Molnar, he could be on for an incredible lap here. Danny Van Ruyten goes into 3rd. Andre Molnar, he's going to displace the Williams in that 3rd place. The Alpine heads up into 3rd, and he will most likely be starting there. Zalan Bieder's not improving. Kai Pearson has invalidated. Luca Rapassa, well, he's just thrown himself into the wall. And John Marquardt, he's improved, but not by enough. So he starts 14th, but Gabriel Quintino is your pole sitter.
Wow, beautiful lap set from Gabriel Quintino there. Much needed to dethrone what looked to be a dominant Lekomsky going on into the Grand Prix of Las Vegas, the closing minutes of qualifying. Everybody throwing it all out in the end there. But Quintino with that beautiful taken pole position by just under half a 10th of a second. You can see it there. 400th separating him from Lekomsky, who dominated this entire first half of qualifying. Andre Molnar just taking P3 then in the final closing rounds. Van Ruyten P4, Justin Ertz P5, Keanu Litard 6, Yannick Smith coming up into P7, Jean Halliday, your driver's standings leader, only good enough for P8, Larry Tilke P9, and Ryan Grob just gets into the top 10. So qualifying being spicy in the early on rounds. I shall now bring us back to the commentators booth while we just have a quick little word from our sponsors. And we are back over here. We lost his camera for just a second, but he should be back with us right now. And we are back into the commentators booth after our little word from our sponsors. You know, Next Level Racing. Check them out. Good Finder. Check them out. You know, our lovely sponsors. Get onto them. Nevertheless, we shall take a quick look at the current standings. So like I said earlier on, Jean Halliday leading the charge as it is. with Keanu Leitard, 25 points. Danny Van Rooten, after his victory last time out, sitting there in third position. That 25 points, much needed to get there in contention. But Jean Halliday got that P2 further extended by 18 points after a victory in round one. And Keaton Lutt, P4. Luca Rapassa, P5. Larry Tolkien, P6. Tony Itala, Reyes Inchiaz, Kai Pearson, and Gabriel Quintino. Your current pole sitter, Quintino, sitting there in 10th in the points. And let me just say, a victory here today and a disastrous result for some of the other drivers would guarantee his position up there in contention for Drivers' Championship. So he's currently on pole today, looking like the fastest man out there. Will he take the victory here tonight, Quintino? What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, he's done the pace bit, but he's done that before. This is his second pole position of the season. So we know that he's got the pace, just does he have the racecraft to back it up? We will see. But yeah, so far this season, his pole to conversion rate is nothing, basically. But we will definitely see whether he is able to convert it this time out.
See, I want to just hold a thought there. See, I said this last time out, Danny Van Rooten, I know he's fast, and I wasn't expecting him to win. I was expecting him to definitely get that podium as we were in Singapore. But here in Vegas, I don't know. I think Danny Van Rooten could pull something out of the bag here, potentially strike once again. I think he qualified P3 last time out as well. So he was certainly within the fight. So, Gabriel Quintino, fast here today in Vegas. But Van Rooten's race pace is absolutely phenomenal when it needs to be. We've seen it before, we may see it again. But will we see Jean Halliday climb the field when it is needed most? Currently leading the standings just by 18 points. It's only been 2 rounds, so there's not a lot of points up there on the field. But now the points are starting to open up as we get into round 3. Another 25 up for grabs for the race victor. Could it be Quintino? Could we see who I'm rooting for, Danny Van Rooten? Or will we see Jean Halliday charge back up the field and potentially take another race victory under the belt? If you take a quick look at the calendar, here we are, Las Vegas, November 25th. Before next week, we get ourselves over to the mighty Silverstone circuit, my home GP, and I can only imagine your home GP as well, Cockcass.
It is indeed. I'm based sometimes in Northampton, so it's even closer to home than it normally would be.
Lovely stuff. We're very excited to see that one. On to Netherlands from there, Hungary, and then you get yourself your nice little Christmas break, as we get past the halfway mark. So I'm excited to see what is to come throughout the later stages in the rounds, especially with the fights that we're seeing earlier on here. Any rounds I'm particularly excited for has got to be Sao Paulo, the finale. Where else to do it? What a better place to do it. There's no better place. Brazil should always host F1 season finales, and I stand by this. I think it should be the one and only place to do that.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that one. I say this every time that someone throws Sao Paulo at the end of a calendar. It is the right place to host a season finale. Ignore all this Abu Dhabi stuff. Sao Paulo is the right place. And with the pace that Quintino's been showing, if he's able to hook it up in a race or a few races in a row, we could be seeing a Brazilian crowned in Brazil.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that one. Could it be Quintino's time to shine here in World Online Racing? Season 19 his to take, and then to finish the season off with the championship at his home Grand Prix. We would all love to see that. It would bring back a sense of nostalgia, to say the least. A bit of a lovely thing to see. Some feels. You get the feels. But nevertheless, I believe the grid is set. The drivers are getting themselves ready for what will be 25 laps of Las Vegas crazy chaos, or maybe somebody's masterclass race to pull out of the bag. We've seen some drivers have some masterclass pace already, some very fast times set on the board. Straight into the 29s, no mucking about, no messing around. 29.2, your fastest time set by Quintino. And now the drivers are ready to go. I'm excited for this, are you?
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, we will be seeing some incredible action. Whether it's a ridiculous overtake, whether it's just some absolutely rip-roaring pace. Las Vegas is a gambler's paradise. We could be seeing people gamble not only on moves, but also on a little bit of strategy. I mean, we saw Lighty performed last time out with a little bit of a gamble strategy. It paid off. We could be seeing people have the same today with with the undercut, interestingly enough, being the unfavoured strategy so far in all the runs that the different WOR tiers have done. They've all favoured the hards and the ones who have favoured the mediums. They haven't quite paid off. Somebody, though, tonight, if they're able to break that DRS, will be able to make that strategy work. It's just about getting that magical 1 second gap between yourself and the driver behind you. And, if we see somebody do that, then they could absolutely storm to the full 25 points.
Absolutely. You know, it's up for grabs for Quintino. Could he get the comeback that he needs? He sat there down in P10 at the minute in the standings, only 6 points to his name. So a third at 25 could propel him up to P2, but nevertheless, the lights are on. It is 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. The lights are out and it is go, go, go for round 3 here in Las Vegas. WOR is kicking off to a fantastic start. Quintino, though, could potentially be under an attack, and he is. Lekomsky's going to send one to the inside line there into turns 1, 2, and 3. And as we come around, it's Lekomsky benefiting from that line, but here comes Van Rooten. I said it once, I'll say it again. Don't count him out as he dives up into P2 as Gabriel Quintino's had a disastrous start. Your pole sitter has been diminished all the way down into P3, and now under attack from what could be Justin Hurts, or never mind that, Andre Molnar under attack from Justin Hurts. He certainly had a good lunge up there on the inside. Justin getting up into P4, and now Lekomsky starts to get a bit of a gap, bridging away from Van Rooten. Is anything more to come down the field? A bit of a fight between the back end of the points cars, side by side, left and right, left and right. Red Bulls going side by side. It's JST and Joe Marquardt going at each other. There are no team tactics here. It is driver versus driver. We saw a little bit of a ghosting there, but I can only hope that the collisions were back on, and that was just a bit of a ghosting moment for them. But so far, everybody's got away very, very well as we come down the Las Vegas Strip now. This is where the top speed will be maximised. Is anybody going to jump up and get that top spot? Nobody's there for a move. Nobody's benefiting from that slipstream. Burning of the battery potentially to be happening to maintain the position before the DRS comes. So a very interesting opening lap though. We saw moves being made. Lekomsky takes pole position back away. He was strong in quali and now leads the race as we get ourselves down to finish lap 1 and on to lap 2.
Yeah, interesting to note as well, Danny Van Rooten, he started on the medium compounded tyre, and he is the only driver in that top 6 to start on the said set of mediums. So it's unsurprising he got a great start. Surprising though that Lekomsky was able to jump Quintino so quickly off that race start. And that is where just a couple of hundredths, thousandths of a second can really benefit you. He is up into the lead of this race, and Andre Molnar could be losing a position. Once Schmidt looks around the outside, he could make that move, could the Williams. Molnar with the inside now, and it looks as if he's sealed that. Yannick Schmidt backing out of it, but he's fallen into the trap of Jan Haladej, who looks to the inside, backs out of it again. They're just not taking those risks in these early on laps. They're just trying to force a mistake from the driver out ahead. And Jan Haladej, the leader of the second set of medium runners, he's second behind Danny Van Rooten in that list at the moment. But he is trying to look racy and trying to look ahead. Larry Tulke.
Have we lost Corey?
No, yeah, I've had a disconnect. Bear with me. I'm trying to get myself back in. Hopefully the stream will just pick itself back up exactly where we were.
Hope so.
I am really joining back in the lobby. The stream has picked itself back up, so I am trying to get myself back in the lobby. I do apologise what has just happened there, ladies and gentlemen. I had a bit of a connection issue early on, but now I'm trying to get myself back in the lobby. I am loading into what should be the race. Communicating.
I can give a...
There we go.
I can give a run by run in the meter.
Do apologise for this. I thought I fixed this earlier on. I had some connection issues early on. I was trying to fix this earlier on. I had a couple of disconnects, but it's been fine up till now. And then we've had a sudden random disconnect. I think I may be having issues down the line. We've missed a couple of laps and I'm devastated because things are starting to spice up. I'm not happy. Not happy. And we are... Come on. Come on. Give me the screen. Thank you, very glad. We are back to racing. And it looks like Danny Van Rooten is in the lead. Well, I called out this man earlier on. And he's in the lead by quite a margin. He's almost brought the DRS. I hate myself for this.
In the meantime as well, Jan Halliday, he's made his way past Andre Molnar. We could be seeing a move for P10 between Ryan Grob and Luca Rapassa. Luca Rapassa sending it to the inside of turn number 1, trying to cling to the outside, but Grob on those mediums, just able to see the Ferrari of Danny Van Ruyten. As you mentioned, he's almost broken that DRS, but this is the crucial time now where he may not be able to break it just enough to make that to make it stick, because you can make it all the way up to about 9/10. And then if they've still got that DRS down the Las Vegas Strip, that can absolutely ruin you, because they can just reel you in by about 5, 6, 7 tenths. And it will undo all of your good progress. But those mediums seem to be working for Danny Van Ruyten. I said it was a gambled strategy. He has taken that gamble. And at the moment, in the gambler's paradise of Las Vegas, it's all coming up red. Or it's all coming up blue, in fact, for Danny Van Ruyten.
We are back on the push now as we try and keep on board with what is to come. It looks like Larry Tulke could be sizing up a move here on Yannick Schmidt. Do we see the dive? There it is. He's got the DRS. He's got the speed. He's aided with the slipstream also. But with this tremendous back pit straight, this long straight down the Vegas Strip, it's only going to end up one way. It's only going to go one way, and that is to top speed. Oh, there's contact there. What just happened? There's that Rapassa dropping positions. There's a huge change in the order that we saw. Slight contact between some drivers, a bit of a bumper barging. Some drivers being pushed off the track. Who was that? Is that Keanu Lutard? It's not. It's Rapassa and Larry Tulke going side by side, sending it out on each other, giving it everything they've got. They're still side by side as we come around turn 1, 2. Will they be side by side on 3? Yes, they will be. And it's Luca Rapassa who gets his foot in flat to the floor and pulls ahead of Tulke there. So that was spicy, but nevertheless, it looks like Lukomski could be also etching closer to Danny Van Ruyten, trying to size up a move. You see Gabriel Quintino closing back up to the gap as well. Jean Halliday is now within the fight. Your championship leader is back on the strike for what could be third podium in a row, or it could be second victory in a row. I don't want to jinx him out just yet, but he is on the medium compound tyre with 2 hard compound runners in front of him. The mediums are going to slip away, and those hards are going to come into play as these laps close away. He needs to get his foot to the floor, get ahead of everyone in front of him, and potentially make moves on. What could it be? Could it be victory for Halliday, or will he just be outside of the podium?
I mean, he's going to need to push in these next few laps, because those mediums, they've got such a small operating window, and Jan Halliday is going to need to get a move on here, as Simon Lukomski could be shaping up a move for the lead of the race down of the Las Vegas Boulevard. He's just backed out of the move, the McLaren, not opting to take that switch into turn number 14, that gambled move, and he stays behind. He's going to get that DRS down that second straight though on Danny Van Ruyten, and we could be seeing a switch for the lead of the race. It's becoming a pack of 4 as Jan Halliday looks to the outside of Gabriel Quintino going into turn number 1. The Ferrari clings to the inside. Jan Halliday clings to the outside. Could be seeing Van Ruyten and Lukomski side by side as well. Halliday comes out on top of Quintino. Those mediums really paying dividends. And now it's pretty much a slipstreamy battle down the straight. Lukomski pulling out and into the lead. Halliday to the inside of Van Ruyten sitting in the rear. But Lukomski taking the lead. Halliday, a gamble, well and truly paying off for the Aston Martin, and he moves up into second place. That first place is a move that he's going to try to shape up, probably down the boulevard, as he just stays within that DRS of Lukomski. He will have nothing left. Will the hard runner in the next couple of corners, but in the next couple of laps, those mediums will fall off and Lukomski will fight back into it. But the hard runners will know that. They'll know that Halliday and Van Ruyten need to make a move now. And, well, for Halliday, somehow Lukomski's broken hints on him. So a move for the lead of the race is not what we're going to see, but we could be seeing a move for P number 2. Jan Halliday leading Van Ruyten, who just doesn't have the straight line speed to keep up Quintino. Just keeping Van Ruyten honest into turn number 14. And they're just going to stay exactly where they are. But as I said, Lukomski lost about 5 tenths to Halliday down that straight. So it's an absolute killer if you aren't able to break that DRS in the lead. But at the moment, Lukomski looking great.
Yeah, Lukomski was very, very fast in qualifying, as shown. He certainly managed to hold the lead of qualifying for the first 12 minutes before he was dethroned by Quintino. Halliday, though, beautifully getting ahead and up onto the podium. He's chasing down another victory. This could be Halliday's season. Certainly showing a streak of dominance in round 1, 2, and now in 3. He's back fighting for the lead once again. Halliday is cooking this time round. This season round is for the Aston Martins to lose or potentially win. The way he's pushing on against Lukomsky looks very comfortable indeed. No moves earlier on when those first initial overtakes were taken. I'm sure they were just recharging the batteries, getting themselves set up for the next aggressive manoeuvres, for the next lot of charges and pounces like vicious predators out in the field hunting their prey.
Yeah, and they're certainly hunting their prey at the moment with a lot of overtakes being shaped up. Maybe not gone for just yet, but in the next couple of laps, they could go for them. The likes of the midfield, the likes of Larry Tulke, the likes of Richard Sproges, they have been very aggressive early on. Luca Rapace actually fell foul to somebody being maybe a little bit too aggressive. Maybe he was a little bit too aggressive. We didn't quite see it, but it was certainly going to be an aggressive battle. I'm sure that'll be one that's decided in the stewards room. But Jan Halliday, in the meantime, taking that lead of the race off of Simon Lukomsky, and it's Danny Van Ruyten's turn to try to apply the pressure. Lukomsky, though, is looking forward rather than back. Attack is the best form of defence, and the McLaren is certainly exercising that at the moment as Justin Etz looks to the inside of Gabriel Quintino. The Ferrari just caught off guard by the Sauber into turn number 1, and Justin Etz clinging to the outside, trying to hold on to it. Quintino's allowed him the space, but Etz has just been a little bit too throttle happy. Just squeezed himself out of a move there. So, yeah, certainly aggressive moves being made early on in this race. And on lap 8, it's all to be decided.
Absolutely. You see the moves coming early on. Everybody's trying to gain positions, potentially setting themselves up for the pit stop strategies to come. We're only on lap 8. We still have 17 laps to go. Still a lot of racing to be held. So track position is absolutely crucial, especially on a track like this where you're absolutely flat to the floor through most of your exits. The only part you're really going slow is on your entry to your lap. Turns 1, 2, and even 3, you're not really slow. You're flat to the floor, trying to minimise your steering angle and gain all that straight line speed on exit. And then sector 2, you slow yourself down again. And then flat to the floor once again, all the way to the checkered flag. You are very easy on your braking here, very, very slow and light. But Danny Van Ruyten's looking to get in the fight, and so is Lukomsky. You see Halliday's dropping 2 positions. That just shows you the power of the DRS and the ERS coming down that sector 3 straight. It's monumental here, especially in straight line speed. If you don't have that rear wing open, you catch yourself too much drag, and the cars behind just pass you like you're stood still.
Absolutely, that is where it will come into the strategies towards the end of the race, where people will opt to have DRS, will opt to not have DRS. I'm pretty sure DRS chicken is illegal in WOR, but I mean, you could see people trying to get away with it, brush the limits of the rules, brush the limits of the circuit as well. As they are coming into final runs. We have seen, though, the first pit stops being taken. The 2 Haas cars, the 2 Red Bulls, and Richard Sproges all coming in for those hard compound tyres, all of which, I believe, from them means we've only got 3 medium runners left, and that's Danny Van Ruyten, Jan Halliday, and Larry Tulke. Van Ruyten and Halliday, they'll be looking at each other. They'll be boxing opposite each other, surely, where, I mean, one is going to go for the undercut, one is going to go for the overcut, and they'll see what pays off. I think the medium, the undercut strategy, that is a huge, huge gamble. But if you can get it to pay off, it can bring huge, huge dividends, because that's an extra, like, it's an extra chunk of time that you can take out of people, and the pace is so matched in this tier. That gap could stabilise even though you're on those poorer tyres. And Danny Van Ruyten just backing out on Lukomsky there. He had the DRS, he had the momentum to make that move, but he opted not to. He chose not to make the move for the lead of the race. So the game's coming in as early as lap 9. Van Ruyten and Halliday continue on those mediums that are going to surely, in the next few laps, start to go off. But yeah, this top 10 train, this could be anybody's game.
You see, this is beautiful for Van Rooten and Halliday. They're on the medium tyres. Certainly those harder compound tyres are going to be the better tyre at this stage in the race, you know, hitting that point of degradation on the mediums where you just don't have the grip like the hards do. So the fact that they're staying there in this train is beautiful for them. They can extend their stint. They can go even longer on the medium or compound tyre. Then when they do ultimately swap for the hard compounds and push towards the end, they're going to be in a much better position. See, Lukomsky, all these other hard runners, Quintino, Justin Ertz, Molnar, they're going to have to judge their strategy now based off what Van Rooten and Halliday could do. But with them staying in this train, without them being under too much pressure, they can go longer. They're not losing out too much time in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the DRS that's keeping them up with the rest of the field. So yeah, they're not losing that much time, and that's where the DRS can really come into effect. Luca Rapassa, in the meantime, he'd worked his way all the way back up the field, and he's now lost that because he went for a spin in Sector 2. Danny Van Rooten retaking the lead of the race from Simon Lukomsky. Could be seeing a fight between Kai Pearson and Tulke into turn number 14. In the end, Kai Pearson is the victor in that battle, and Larry Tulke is going to come into the pit. So are the two leaders on the mediums. It's Danny Van Rooten and Jan Halliday. They have come in. Their time is now, and this could decide the race. With them coming in now, making the undercut. They've matched strategies in the end, and the Williams and the Aston Martin, and to an extent the Kick Sauber, they are now pushing for that battle for the lead. We saw Richard Sprogges retire on the last lap. We saw Luca Rapassa retire on this lap. Unfortunate for both that they are now the two retirements from this race. Andre Molnar, in the meantime, making it past Kiana Van Nuttard and Yannick Schmidt. Yannick Schmidt, who's shaping up a move back. Oh no, that's Kai Pearson even going for a move on Yannick Schmidt. Apologies there. But down the inside goes Kai Pearson, and the V-carb has the track position, but Schmidt, just with the exit, is so crucial to get exits out of all of these corners that lead onto straights. Because of how long the straights are, because of how much power you can get down. And Schmidt just retaking that position. But Lukomsky, he's exceeded track limits just one too many times. And the McLaren, he's picked up 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Lukomsky. He was really looking like the driver to beat here tonight. But that 3 seconds is damaging his race ever more as Quintino still fights away with him on the hard compound tyres. They've yet to box these drivers, as you see. Jan Halliday and... yeah, I've lost my train of thought. Jan Halliday and Danny Van Rooten, both drivers come into the pits to get off the mediums and onto the hard. So their hard stint comes out now. It's all push, push, push for these two drivers to see where they can go, if they can get that undercut, that jump ahead. But, you know, when Gabriel and Lukomsky come out on the medium compound tyre, will the pace difference be enough to catch back up? Because, you know, it's inevitable. Van Rooten, Halliday, they're just going to gain time away from these two now at the front, unless this DRS train can help them.
And they're going to have to be incredibly smart with how Van Rooten and Jan Halliday use the DRS well, I mean, we saw a move on the last lap between Van Rooten and Halliday. We've seen another one. That one was a smart one, though, where they're trying to minimise the loss that they get to the drivers ahead, and Zalambida losing 3/10 in that first sector. So Van Rooten and Halliday just certainly bringing the pace. In the meantime, Ertz and Lukomsky battling for that third place. Ertz throwing his way up into the lead battle, and Quintino we saw getting past Lukomsky as well. Do we see anyone come in early? I don't think that will be very likely. I think they'll be coming in more around lap number 17, 18, 19, where, or maybe even earlier than that, where they've got, well, maybe lap 15, 16. I think 17 is probably around the time that they're going to try to pit if they want to go for that massive overcut. Lap 15, though, we've seen that those mediums can work for 10 laps, and so maybe that strategy for a few runners at least, as Van Rooten and Halliday once again switch positions. They've gained an entire second to Zalambida, and they're not even through the entire lap. Ertz taking the lead of the race into turn number 1. There's action all over the field, and the Kick Sauber moves up into the lead. We've seen our first couple of boxes, though, from those hard compounded tyres to the Pressacan and Enzo Soom. In the midfield, they've switched on to the medium compounded tyre, and JST showing that those hards are nothing to be reckoned with. They're nothing to just swat away, because he's set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Jan Halliday certainly the one to fly away as he's battling it out with his current rival, Danny Van Rooten. You know, they're just exchanging that DRS, swapping it lap after lap. These two drivers, extremely skilled and talented, know what they need to do. They don't need to fight it out too hard. They just need to benefit off each other, try and keep swapping positions, using that DRS, not costing time, catch back up. Make the most now of your hard tyre stint. This is it to the end of the race. You see Tudor and Enzo both coming in on lap 12 to slap on the medium compounded tyre. We saw they could do 10 laps. I mean, that's quite a gamble though, like you say, for Enzo. But they don't really have a lot to lose here. They're running down in the back end of the field. You know, it's almost back of the grid if we didn't see the DNFs of Rapasa and Rihard Sprogis early on. Both drivers retiring in the pits, potentially having incidents and getting themselves out of it, not having the race that they wanted. But here we see it is once again Van Rooten and Halliday just keep swapping that DRS. They're not fighting too hard. They're trying to gain time on each other and chase down that lead. They're racing Quintino and Lekomsky here. It's alternate strategy versus default strategy in a way. Keaton Lowe had a disconnect but has got back in now. So it seems that would explain why Keaton Lowe is so far behind.
It would indeed with the Haskar. Just it's not his day. Last place currently of all the runners. And, well, he's not looking like he's going to get back into it anytime soon as he's, well, it says 28 seconds off race Imtiaz. I don't think it's quite that much, but unfortunate for Keaton. Quintino, by the way, leading the race ahead of Ertz, who you failed to mention in that battle, but he is up there. He is now starting to announce himself in that field with Lekomsky having a 3-second time penalty as well. I think the McLaren's going to struggle to build a gap that's enough to take the lead and the victory of this race. Danny Van Rooten, in the meantime, 3.7 seconds behind Zalambida. So that gap is coming down dramatically. And I think we could be seeing Justin Ertz make a switch again for the lead of the race outside of Quintino. Doesn't even need the DRS, but he's going to use it just to get past. And the swaps for the lead are, well, they're just taking the benefits of those swaps for the lead at the moment. They're just trying to build that gap as much as they can. The top 6 pack trying to break away, but there's only one car, that of Zalambida now, between Jan Halliday, Danny Van Rooten, and the top few. And the top few are going to come into the pits. Ertz, Quintino, Quintino, and Van Leertard as well. Schmidt and Molnar. So 5 of the top 6 coming into the pits. They're going to get rid of those hards on lap number 14. Lekomsky's going to stay out for one more at least. And Jan Halliday, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 1:31.9. But we're going to see where they come out in relation to the rest of the field. They've come out way behind Halliday and Van Rooten. They may come out at the back of the pack. They've come out behind them and Pressacan even. No, they've come out ahead of them, sorry. They've come out behind Kai Pearson even, as I misidentified the RB. So that's my bad again. But yeah, they've come out behind Kai Pearson. P9 is the leader, Justin Ertz. And he's not too far off Halliday and Rooten. There's about 4 seconds between the two, if my maths correctly. And if they can fight their way through those hard runners, the likes of JST, Ryan Grob and Larry Tilke, whose hards, they won't be that worn yet, but in the next few laps they will be. They'll be absolutely flying. They need to get past Kai Pearson, though, who pitted last lap onto those mediums. So that undercut working for the RB.
Absolutely. It most certainly is working to his absolute advantage where he need it to be. But for now, it's all for Jan Halliday and Danny Van Rooten, but they've not gained the time, like you say, that you would expect. They've only gained a couple seconds in terms of total race distance. So Gabriel Quintino, Justin Ertz, you know, they need to get on the push. They need to flat to the floor and get past the traffic ahead of them, gain right back up to Jan Halliday and Danny Van Rooten and get themselves back into the fight. You know, Lekomsky is still to box. He's the only driver out of that front fight who is still out there running the hard compound tyre. Could we see him run them all the way to potentially going softs? Will the degradation allow this? Will they even be at a competitive pace, depending, what even 5 laps in? I mean, like you say early on, before the race started, the degradation around here is monstrous, absolutely monumental. It's not something that you want to go for, so medium hard compound tyre, it's the default strategy what you would always go for. Lekomsky running these hard compound tyres a little bit longer, though. Oh, we see yellow flags.
Yellow flag in. Who is that? That's going to be Danny Van Rooten, who's had issues And he's dropped down the field. He's dropped down to P number 12. We'll see if he has damage as he's overtaken by Andre Molnar. He does, I think, have an end plate off. Couldn't quite see there, but that's devastating. Man who worked so hard to get up the field. His hard work is now is being benefited off by Jan Halliday, who's in the DRS of Zalan Bida. So devastating for Danny Van Ruijten, and I don't think he's going to be able to make that progress because those hards are nowhere near as quick, especially not at the moment, as those mediums. So he's really, really missing out in P13. Jan Halliday making that move for second place. It'll be first once Simon Likomski comes into the pits. And Jan Halliday, he has played this absolutely perfectly. He's had a bit of a luck by the fact that his main competitor has dropped down. But he's played this perfectly. It's getting past JST. So it's not over yet as Likomski comes in finally on lap 17 of this race. And he will switch off of those hards. But Jan Halliday, lap 17, retakes the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
You know, Jan Halliday has been one to watch in these opening rounds. You know, season 19 certainly setting out to be Halliday's one. He's setting the margin, the driver to beat. He is, in a way, dominating this season. He's now taking the lead of the race. He's good to go all the way to the end. Only 8 laps separating Halliday from his second victory. In 3 rounds, he's had podium after podium and now another podium to set the pace to beat. He's just going to extend the championship lead. Nobody really is gaining any in high terms of points. You know, the next person closest, Keanu Leitard, 25 points. Danny Van Ruijten, 25 points. Van Ruijten got himself into some form of incident. He's down and outside of the points. So with the way it stands, Halliday, he's going to be up there with 68 points. And Keanu Leitard will only be on about, what, 22 to 27 points. He's just going to get away with it. Really set a big gap in points in the early stages, in the early rounds.
That is, if Aerts can't break that gap down. He's now down to 2.6 seconds. Or now Larry Tilke, who's taken the lead of this battle. He's now 2.4 seconds down on Zalan Bida. That means 3.6 seconds off Halliday. And in 8 laps, we'll see whether they're able to break that gap. They will have the DRS on their side. DRS that is so incredibly powerful around this circuit. And it's something that Halliday does not have access to at the moment. Keanu Van Leertard making his way past JST into P number 7. And the hard runners starting to struggle now. Having said that, Danny Van Ruijten's made a move. He's up into P11 ahead of Ryan Grob. And Andre Molnar, who's fallen off the back of that battle, well, he's going to be the next one that Danny Van Ruijten looks at. Justin Aerts makes his way back past Larry Tilke. And they've gained a lot of time on Zalan Bida, almost a second in that last lap alone. And so he's probably going to get the luxury of that DRS down the boulevard. And on this lap, if he gets that DRS, this could be an absolute game changer, because that means that he's going to be able to gain just that extra lap of time, just that extra 5-6 tenths that I said he would be able to gain on Jan Halliday. And that could make the difference.
Absolutely, you know, it's all about pushing now all the way to the end. Tenths matter, hundredths matter, thousandths of a second matter. You need to gain everything up now. Jan Halliday, he's 2 seconds clear of Zalan, who is still on 17 lap old hard compounder tyres. This is certainly a hard to sauce for Zalan, but what else is there to lose, as Justin Aerts is the one trying to chase down Jan Halliday. You wouldn't expect him to be in the fight earlier on, being qualifying. Wasn't expecting this man to be there, but here he is. He's going to put the fight to Jan Halliday. Can he be the one to beat him? He will have the better tyres, but for how much longer? 6 laps of racing to go. Justin needs to get there and get there now.
It's the trading of DRS that will make or break Aerts for Bida. Well, Bida even actually has to come into the pits. But for Aerts, for Tilke, for Pearson, for Quintino, for all of those drivers in that pack, it's the trading of DRS. This is going to make it. And Kai Pearson making a send on Zalan Bida for that 4th place position. He makes that move stick. And a driver who also wasn't in it in qualifying, he's made his way into it in the race. Kai Pearson up into 4th. Quintino now makes his way up into 5th ahead of Bida, who's starting to drop. And you'd think that he's waiting for the softs, but he may have waited just too long to pit. And he's actually losing time now behind for these drivers. We should be seeing Justin Aerts close in on Halliday. They should be in the same shot very, very soon. If you watch the onboard of Justinette, you can see how close Jan Haladesh is. It's not close enough to make a move or anything like that yet, but he's just bearing down, and it's going to get even lower as the two kick Saubers at the moment, the two leaders of this battle, just trade DRS. It's the teamwork that comes into play, and Larry Tilke, he retakes that P2, and he's getting ever, ever closer to Jan Haladesh up top.
Yeah, we could see this is the potential for team tactics, but are they being teammates this early on, or are they just trying to benefit each other and gain up right up behind Jan Haladesh? You know, he's the one who's running away with it so far. God, he's like a missile, that man. It's 2.7 seconds and pulling away. You know, Justin Ertz, Larry Toolkit, the only people they've got DRS on is each other. They're just not getting closer. They're not getting there on Haladesh. He's in a world of his own, a league of his own. Look at the gap on the track map. He's there on his own, coming around turn 5. The rest of the cars just getting there now. He's completely disappearing. Earlier, well, moving down the field, we can see some slight moves, some slight dive bombs at DRS. There's a wobbling Haas of Ryan Grobb, who's under attack from Tudor. Could JST get in the mix? No, the Red Bulls are staying sat behind as Ryan Grobb is still side by side with Tudor. These two are fighting out. Ryan Grobb had that little snap and a wobble, but he's not giving away that position without a fight. There's 3 seconds for JST there. Caught himself on the track, off the track, should I say, one too many times, and gets given the black and white. You have been given a penalty, sir. Keep it in the lines. Anybody else going for a risky manoeuvre down this really long, famous down straight? How do you even call this? It's just a strip. It's just a straight line. How fast can you go? A powertrain circuit at its finest. As we see Kai Pearson potentially have a look. He does not get his nose in just yet. Is that Lekomsky going for it? You're damn right it is. Gets past the land though.
And Tilke had a poor exit out of turn number 16. This could see an incredible back, almost 5 wide as they headed out of the final corner. And Justinette, he's going to lead this, but Pearson.
Oh, there's contact!
Tilke and Quintino make contact. And Kai Pearson leads this battle. Quintino drops to the rear of it. And somehow the kickstart was not sustained any sort of time damage. Pearson leads it. Ertz looking to make that move on him. That P2 could be his once again. This is all going to benefit Jan Haladesh in the meantime. But Andre Molnar and Keanu Van Leertaart now side by side. They were 3 wide on the last lap into turn number 1. They almost went 4 wide into turn number 1. But Molnar in the end taking the lead. Quintino looking to fight back. Gets alongside Van Leertaart. He's going to go. But it looks like Van Leertaart is just going to hold on to that position. And Quintino is going to have to slot in P7. Absolute chaos just around the final corner. And we've still got 4 laps to go. In the meantime, though, the gap has been built up by another second to Jan Haladesh. So that brief moment of fighting could have ruined the chase for all of these drivers behind Haladesh.
Oh, wow, that was absolute chaos. Haladesh just getting ever further away as these lot try and fight it out for just P2 for the podium positions. But right now, everybody's going ultra aggressive. The final closing laps, this is where it matters. Elbows are out. Nobody is holding back anything here now. We just saw Quintino, your pole sitter, getting slapped around. He was pushed off the track and dropped down to P7. It's Ertz against his own teammate, Larry Tulke. Well, can Justin do anything to fight back? Kai Pearson benefiting more than others in them situations and came on through to take P2. But now they fight on as Jan Haladesh is 4 seconds clear and in a world of his own, just enjoying the drive around the lovely, lit up Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he's being caught now, because now he's actually quicker on pace. Those mediums have lost their operating window at the worst time for some of these drivers, which means Larry Tulke at least will be able to get back into the battle. But yeah, those mediums do not have the advantage they had just a couple of laps ago, and they've still got 3 more laps left to run on them. So we'll see how they work together. They will still hold the DRS, so they'll still have that advantage over Haladesh, but they've lost another 3/10 in that last lap. 9 seconds now between Haladesh and Pearson. So this is very much the fight for P2 now, unless Haladesh is going to make a mistake up there, but he's made no mistakes today in the race. He's just been incredibly quick, and he's just brought out another 2/10 on Kai Pearson. Larry Tulke, he's pulled to the outside of Kai Pearson. He doesn't think he's going quick enough nor does Justin Etz, who gets past the RB, and they're up into P2 and 3. Other 2 kick Saubers. So, well, the teamwork from the FVR drivers has worked, but a slight moment of head loss from about drivers has cost them the battle for the race win. It hasn't cost them the battle, though, for this P2, and this will rage on to the dying laps.
Yes, it will indeed, as we see Gabriel Quintino attacking away, fighting away once again with Simon Zlokomsky. These two were battling out in the opening stints, but now they're just battling it out for the lower end of the points, but every point matters, as we see Larry Tulke and Justin Ertz swapped around one more time. These two need to either... Are they working together? Could you class this as working together? As you see Keenan Luck retires into the pits. We see Kai Pearson there potentially having a look for a sizing up and move on Justin Ertz. Larry's starting to pull away a little bit. He's almost brought the DRS. He is 9/10 and pulling away. Will he break that 1 second before we get round to turn number 12 and 13? The DRS detection zone comes after turn 13. And Justin Ertz needs to push, needs to try and gain everything he can. Close down on Larry Tulke. Tulke's the one trying to break the DRS. It's not close enough, and he will ultimately cross that detection zone. Picking it up indeed. The rear wing will be open. The ERS will be deployed. Who's going to swap around positions here? We see cars going left and right, moving out of the dirty air. An overtake for Gabriel Quintino on Lokomsky. Easy done with that DRS. Nobody else swapping positions as of yet. Everybody sat there running in position. Justin Ertz is just trying to close up now to Larry Tulke. Tulke could be on for P2. Andre Molnar's now sending it one. Gets past Kai Pearson. Sets his sights on Justin Ertz ahead. Could Andre Molnar be the one to get that last podium position away and separate those kick Saubers from getting a 2-3? Oh, there's a big slide there from Justin Ertz. He could have potentially made it a little bit easier there for Andre Molnar to get past. Larry Tulke's brought the DRS, but is that rear wing open? Yes, it is. Justin Ertz just managed to stay there. Kai Pearson's having a look and a big send there into turn 5. Almost clattering together. Could he open the door for a lurking Keanu Leutard? Leutard's going to look for it, Can he get it? He can't. Andre Molnar goes back through and retakes his position with ease. Well, do not count out Quintino. Quintino's looking for his open door on this fight. Could he get one on Keanu Leutard? He cannot. He's still sat behind for now. Oh, the moves are coming out on the penultimate lap. After this, there's only one more to go. Is everybody setting themselves up in prime position for the final run down to victory? Who will it be? Well, of course, there's only one it can be. It'll be Jean Halliday with that 3-second gap.
Well, I mean, Larry Tulke's brought it down to 3 seconds, but surely it's not going to be any more. As Justin Etz and Andre Molnar, they have lost that DRS to the cars ahead, so the battle has switched from the battle for that second place to maybe the battle for fourth, because Etz is 1.1 seconds behind Andre Molnar, just under 1.1 seconds behind Yannick Schmidt. And Lokomsky having a little scrap, and Lokomsky with a big slide out of the final corner. That has given Danny Van Ruyten that P9, and the McLaren, yeah, just dropping to the final points position. At the moment, that 3-second penalty is not going to affect him at all, but it's not going to be the day that he was hoping for after that start, after the fact that he led the race in turn number 1, and he looked to be on for it, but he went just for an overcut strategy that didn't quite pay off, and he finds himself down in P number 10. We've got all the drivers slotting in, apart from Gabriel Quintino, who looks to the inside of Keanu Van Leeuwtard, not quite making that move, and the Ferrari will stay behind. They're all set for that final DRS straight. They want to be as high up as they possibly can to make the battle work, to fight forward. Kai Pearson with a poor exit, it looked like. He's lost DRS, and Keanu Van Leeuwtard could be there to capitalise. Not quite, as Pearson gets a better exit than the Mercedes. But the DRS is, well, it's only just going to be available for Kai Pearson at the moment. It may not be available as he heads down that straight, heading through the corner, turn number 12, heading on to turn number 13. And it's the final time that these cars will see DRS on the Las Vegas Strip. And Keanu Van Leeuwtard, he breezes past Kai Pearson into P5, and the Mercedes moves up that P5. And Gabriel Quintino, he makes Kai Pearson's last lap even a little bit more miserable as he moves up into that P6 slot, as Pearson now drops to P7. But there's a man who's absolutely dominated today, Jan Halliday. Happy Halliday here under the lights in Las Vegas. Larry Tulke in second. Justin Aerts taking third, just ahead of Andre Molnar. It's a photo finish for Van Leotard and Quintino, with Van Leotard taking it in the end. Pearson and Schmidt with another, with what Danny Van Ruyten as well involved in that, probably 3 wide across the line. And then Simon Lekomsky taking the final points position. Enzo Soom, Joel Marquardt, Tudor Presakan, JST, Ryan Grob, Race Imitaz, and then Zalambida, your final finisher.
I think we may have had a bit of a glitch there for Lekomsky, who finds himself dropping down the order, although he didn't finish in that order. When he crossed the line, I think he hit the wall and then crossed the line. I don't know how that's going to classify, but it's seen him fall all the way down to what could be P17 in the grid just in the end there. But that was a beautifully ran race from Halliday. It's 2 victories this season and will further extend this Drivers' Championship lead. I've got to tell you, Jan Halliday this season is absolutely on the money. He's pushing it, giving it everything they've got. This is this time to shine. Larry Tulke making it the first podium for him this season. And Justin Aerts, P3, finishing off your podium sitters. Andre Molnar looking for it but couldn't get it. Keanu Van Leutard sits there in P5. Gabriel Quintino, Kai Pearson, Yannick Smith, Danny Van Ruyten and Enzo Soom finishing off the points positions. However, Enzo, I believe, will not be there because Lekomsky has been pushed all the way down to 17th, although he didn't finish there. I'm sure he finished in the points, so things are a little bit mixed up at the moment. But nevertheless, your finishing order is set and the race is done and dusted. And Jan Halliday, what a race for them, further extends that lead. Let's move ourselves on to the interview room. Let's see if anybody would like a quick little chat about how their race has gone down this evening.
Well, that was an incredible race for, well, all the drivers that we talked about towards the end of the race. They weren't quite the drivers we thought we were going to talk about after qualifying was done. The likes of Jan Halliday, Larry Tulke, Kai Pearson, Jan Halliday and Larry Tulke coming from 8th and 9th on the grid to 1st and 2nd. Kai Pearson coming from 16th to 17th, and it could have been oh so much better for Kai as well, as he's getting the driver of the day vote for from a couple of the people in the chat at the moment. But
You're back.
I can hear you.
I just had a huge internet cut, so I think we're going to have to call it there and be done with tonight because my internet is just not playing ball. I knew this was going to happen, but I'm glad it happened at the end of the race.
Oh, gotcha. If it 2 minutes earlier, and we would have been destroyed.
Yeah, 2 minutes earlier, it would have been terrible, absolutely terrible. But no, we're going to have to call it for tonight. There's something going on with the internet. But other than that, we shall see you next week out, where we head ourselves over to the mighty Silverstone circuit. Great Britain, my home Grand Prix. I've got to say, Cass, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure for having you. Despite the slight little connection and internet interruptions, you've been a very good commentator too. It's been a pleasure to share the booth with you. So thanks for filling in, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely hope to see you again soon. I mean, if we get any sort of action like that, I'll be willing to come back every week. So, yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to commentate alongside you as well. It wasn't quite. Well, I mean, the disconnects didn't have that much of an. We didn't have that much of an issue with the disconnects. Obviously, it was only a couple of laps at the start, and we didn't miss any of the major action. I think there was only 1 or 2 moves in the time where you were gone. So, I mean, you got the majority of the race. And that's certainly the most exciting bits. Just glad your internet held on for that final couple of laps.
Yeah, me too, mate. Glad we was able to get all of the pretty much majority of the race in the last 22 laps, to say the least. Quite a lot of racing to get on the screen, but nevertheless, be sure to check out our sponsors. You know, Grid Finder, Next Level Racing. We love to have them, and we appreciate them all the best. But for now, that is us done and dusted, and we shall see you next week. Same time, same place.